अरिहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को न माय स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते ओ मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। ओ मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So we will continue our studies with Ashtapahud. Last week we started this Ashtapahud, and so far we have completed 4 treatises. Okay, so it's a collection of 8 independent scriptures, out of which 4 we have completed, and today we are going to start the 5th one. I have made you a co-host. Okay, you have already done. Fine. So you can share the textbook. It's page number 12 in the English, this one. Hindi, it was 160 something. Yeah, Bhav Pahud. So, as the name suggests, each Pahud is based on the name it suggests. So, Bhav Pahud has a predominance of Bhav. Bhav means internal disposition. So, internal disposition could be of 2 types. One is like attachments, aversions, delusions, and all. And the other are pure disposition. So, it is impure disposition and pure disposition, 2 types of disposition. Okay, but here in Bhav Pahud, we are going to discuss only the pure disposition. What are these pure disposition? Ratnatraya, 3 gems, 3 jewels: right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct. So here Acharya Kunkundev uh, uh, relates to special emphasis on the pure dispositions. Okay, without pure disposition, all the activities that you do through mind, speech, and body are futile, no use. It's not going to pay us anything, right? So first of all, we should manifest the 3 gems: right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct, and then only anything could be done in the path of liberation. Okay, so we should not distract ourselves by indulging in rituals and activities of mind, speech, and body. Okay, the first is the change in belief. Okay, and for change in belief, you need to study intensely, right? Very deep, and then you have to contemplate on that, and then you come to a decision, and that decision is going to carry you forward in the path of liberation. Okay, so we are all we can say we are in that process, work in progress phase, where we are about to manifest the right belief. And for that, you need constant hammering of the same things again and again. So you need to get into studies on a regular basis, and then you will be able to see that you are able to catch up, you are able to grasp what is being said by the acharyas. So from time immemorial, we have not done this thing. We have done everything in this transmigration. Only reading the scriptures, understanding it, and then making a decision on it is absolutely very, very rare. Okay, so many people read so much, but in terms of decisions, they are very poor. So their activities of mind, speech, and body are of that level. Okay, they don't yield any fruits. Okay, so the emphasis is on manifesting the right belief in the very first place. Okay, no other objective right now. Even if this whole life is dedicated in manifesting right belief, still it is fruitful. The soul's journey continues. So if a person dies here, that doesn't mean that it is the end of the soul. The journey continues. So maybe you have reached a level of, say, your target was 100, but you must have reached, say, 80, 85 in this birth. Okay. So remaining 15, whatever is left over, will continue in the next birth, even if it is in a subhuman state, like, animals like lion, those who are with mind. And whether it is in a hellish state, narak, there also you will continue this journey and you can manifest right belief there also. So it's a kind of journey, it's not an event. Okay. But although this journey culminates in an event, Samyak Darshan is an event, right belief is an event. But before that, the work in progress is what we get into. Okay. And once we get into, our confidence grows on increasing, and we find further insights into what we are reading, and we also enjoy it. It's very interesting. Never you will feel bored. So whatever needs are there for this life, of course, that we have to manage. But apart from that, whatever time we find, we should always dedicate the time in studying the scriptures. Swadhyay is the 10th austerity. Out of 12 austerities, first austerity, when you go to the second austerity, it is greater than that. Then third is greater than the second. So in that lineage, 10th one is Swadhyay. Okay. So you can understand that this fasting and anshan, aumodarya, vritti parisankhyan, and the 6 external austerities, 10th is the Swadhyay. So Swadhyay is the most important tapa. Okay. So that's why it is recommended you study. When you study, automatically your thoughts also runs in those directions. You contemplate on it, and then of course you arrive at a decision. Okay. With analysis, you immediately arrive in a decision, right? You are able to make the choices. It's very difficult to have a right choice every time. Okay. Very few people are able to make it, and those are who are well versed in Jinwani. Okay. So you have to understand Jinwani in a meaningful way, so that uh, it is you are able to connect to yourself faster. Okay. Our endeavor should be that whatever knowledge we acquire with that one purpose, that first of all we want to experience or realize ourselves, and the next is then we want to engrossed in that. That is the path of happiness. Nothing else matters. Okay. So this Bhavpaud, Acharya Kunkundev has put special emphasis on the internal purity disposition. Okay. Basically, these scriptures are written for Kunkunda Acharya, where they have disciplined the monks that without this internal purity, all your activities are futile. Only being naked does not serve any purpose, because the animals are also naked, and the hellish beings are also naked, but they have not manifested the religion, right? Dharma, righteous meditation. Okay. So it is recommended that you understand the scriptures, you remove the delusion, manifest the right belief, and so on. The path of liberation begins. Very nice, very deep, and very I can say, motivational also. Okay. So we will read. There are 165 verses in this. The original scripture, maybe you will find someday to read it, but right now we are managing with the summary. This is basically a summary. Okay. So start, Amitaji.
Disposition Treatise Bhav Pahud. In this treatise, consisting of 165 verses, special emphasis has been placed on the purity of dispositions, Bhavshuddhi, as they are the root cause of virtues and vices. The renunciation of external possessions is undertaken solely to purify one's inner disposition. However, without the abandonment of internal possessions of attachments and aversions and similar tendencies, external renunciation is futile. Without internal purity, even if one were to perform external austerities for millions of years, liberation cannot be attained. Therefore, a seeker on the path of liberation must first and foremost recognize and understand their inner disposition. O Atma, you have assumed the form of one who is Nirgrantha countless times, yet without the disposition of inner purity and the contemplation of the nature of the pure soul, you have endured infinite suffering while wandering through the four realms. In the realm of health, you have experienced suffering arising from cold, heat, dwelling, and the like. In the animal realm, you have experienced suffering from crushing, burning, pain, mutilation, and restraint. In the human realm, you have faced sudden disasters such as lightning strikes, mental anguish, and physical suffering. And in the celestial realm, you have endured separation, feelings of inferiority, and other forms of misery. O Jiva, what more can be said? Without the contemplation of your true self, you have been confined in the most impure place, the womb of a mother, curled up and helpless. To this day, you have consumed milk from countless mothers that, if collected, would fill an entire ocean. The tears shed by the mothers who grieved over your birth and death would alone suffice to fill an ocean. Similarly, you have taken so many births in this infinite ocean of transmigratory existence that if all your hair, nails, umbilical cords, and bones from those lives were gathered, the resulting heap would surpass even Mount Sumeru. O Atma, without realizing your true self, you have dwelt in all three realms in water, land, fire, air, mountains, rivers, trees, forests, and all such things, enduring endless suffering. You have repeatedly consumed all forms of matter, yet you were never satisfied. Similarly, tormented by insatiable thirst, you have drunk all the water in the three worlds, yet your thirst remained unquenched. Therefore, reflect on all these truths and contemplate the three jewels that bring an end to this cycle of existence.
Stop.
Osted,
Stop.
thank you. Thank you, Himali.
Yeah. So first of all, Acharya also begins with that without the internal purity, whatever external renunciation you do in terms of possession, it's all futile. Okay. So the path of liberation, you have to first manifest the right belief or the pure dispositions. Okay. Then it also says that you have been monk many a times, but without the internal purity, uh, it went all futile. Okay. Then Acharya explains what are the sorrows or sufferings that you experienced in all the four states of existence, which was very well uh, explained in Chardala, in the first Dal, the sufferings in all the four existence. But here in short, Acharya have summarized it that in animal realm you have experienced suffering from crushing, burning, pain, mutilation, and restraint. In the human realm, you have faced sudden disasters, accidents such as lightning strikes, etc., mental anguish, and physical sufferings. And in the celestial realm, you have endured separation, feeling of inferiority, and other forms of misery. And then in hell, you have experienced suffering arising from the cold, heat, dwelling, and the like. Okay. So, all four realms, you have suffered a lot. And right now is the time to manifest the right belief or the pure disposition, so that your path of liberation is started and you achieve the liberation, that is the ultimate purpose. Oh Jiva, what more can be said? Without the contemplation. So contemplation would be realization. Without the realization of your true self, you have been confined in the most impure place, the womb of a mother, curled up and helpless. 9 months, okay? To this day, you have consumed milk from countless mothers that, if collected, would fill an entire ocean. Okay. So Acharya Dev is just explaining us uh, the nature of sufferings that we have undergone through, and many a times we have taken human birth, and in human birth many a times we have become monk, and still our path of liberation has not begun. The tears shed by the mother who grieved over your birth and death, would alone suffice to fill an ocean. Similarly, you have taken so many births in this infinite ocean of transmigratory existence, that if all your hair, nails, umbilical cords. What is this umbilical cords? Nal, that separates the child from the mother, and the bones from those lives were gathered, the resulting heap would surpass even Mount Sumeru. Okay. O Atma, without realizing your true self, you have dwelled in all the three. Now, what are the three realms? Can anyone mention? Out of four, they have mentioned three. Why? So it's a mistake, translation mistake. Last time also I mentioned, but they have not changed it. In all the three world, because realms are four. Okay. So as in the same paragraph, they have mentioned at one place three worlds. So they mean three world. Okay. In water, land, fire, air, mountains, river, trees, forest, and all such places, enduring endless suffering. You have repeatedly consumed all forms of matter, yet you were never satisfied. Uh, Similarly, tormented uh, by the insatiable thirst, you have drunk all the water in the three worlds. Now they have written three worlds. Okay, so that was also three worlds. Yet your thirst remained unquenched. Therefore, reflect on all these truths and contemplate the three jewels that bring an end to this cycle of existence. Reflect on all these truths. Acharya is motivating us to realize this truth, that we have suffered. We have suffered in all these four realms of existence, all this transmigration. So this realization is very important. We feel that, oh, like we don't remember what we have suffered in the past. Okay. So there is no way that we can connect to our past. But from the scriptures, they are trying to explain that we have taken infinite times birth in every substance, space, time, and disposition. Okay. And we have never been able to manifest the right belief. And that's why we never experience the eternal bliss. Okay. So whatever we have experienced in terms of happiness is all material happiness, sensual pleasures. Okay. And in all these sensual pleasures, there exists a restlessness, akulta, and the eternal bliss is nirakulta. This is only the difference. Okay. So the sensual pleasures comes along with the restlessness, anxiety, and this eternal bliss is devoid of this restlessness. Okay. Now continue, Hemali.
O steadfast one, you have been born countless times in the infinite ocean of existence, taking and abandoning innumerable bodies. Among these, in the human state, you have endured immense suffering by meeting untimely death, such as through consumption of poison, and in the animal state, you have experienced death through events such as avalanches. In the lowest form of life, you have experienced birth and death 66,336 times within a single Antarmurat. O Jeev, in the absence of the three jewels of right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct, Ratnathver, you have wandered in this sorrowful cycle of existence since beginningless time. Therefore, now strive to attain the three jewels in the form of right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct, so that your death is not without spiritual readiness, Kumarana, but rather a noble one, Sumarana, enabling you to quickly achieve eternal bliss. Now the Acharya describes the sufferings that arise after merely adopting Dravyalinga, the external ascetic form, while being devoid of bhav, inner disposition. O revered monk, there is no place remaining in the three worlds where you have not taken birth and death while merely adopting Dravyalinga, nor there is any putgal that you have not taken up and then relinquished. Yet liberation has not been attained by you. Rather, due to not being a bhavling, you have endured sufferings alone, being afflicted by birth, aging, and the like for infinite times. O illustrious one, what more can be said? In this human body, each and every part harbors 66 diseases. Then what can be said about the afflictions of the entire body? In the past lives, you have endured all these ailments helplessly, and you will continue to endure them in the future as well. O monk, you dwelled in the highly impure womb of your mother, where you consumed nourishment in the form of fluids derived from her digested food. Later, in your infancy, out of ignorance, you lay in unclean places, surrounded by impure objects, and consumed impure substances. O monk, this body, which you perceive as your home, is entirely filled with impure substances such as flesh, bones, semen, blood, bile, intestine, semi digested waste, immature excrement formed from blood, fat, and pus, impure blood. Being attached to this impure body, you have endured sufferings for infinite time.
Stop. So you see, uh, all kinds of sufferings that we have undergone. Acharya is trying to make us realize that has been your story. You believe in it, and you now make the best of this opportunity that you have got. You have been born countless times in the infinite ocean of existence, taking and abandoning innumerable bodies, because soul is there from infinite time. There is no beginning for the soul. So obviously we have taken birth infinite times in each of the every object that exists in this universe. Among these, in the human state, you have endured immense suffering by meeting untimely death, such as thorough consumption of poison, etc. So, etc. is missing, you can write down etc. And in the animal state, you have experienced death through events such as avalanche, etc. So, avalanches is a snowfall, okay? In the lowest form of life, Nigod, you have experienced birth and death 66,336 times within a single Antar Murat, that is within 48 minutes. O Jiva, in the absence of the three jewels of right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct, you have wandered in this sorrowful cycle of existence since beginningless time. Therefore, now strive to attain the three jewels in the form of right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct, so that your death is not without spiritual readiness, that is called Kumaran, and rather a noble one, Sumaran, that is Samadhi Maran, that is gradual, peaceful death. Okay. Enabling you to quickly achieve eternal bliss. Now, the Acharya describes the suffering that arise after merely adopting Dravyaling. Now, what is this Dravyaling? It's a bit controversial subject. So, controversial in the sense the different acharyas have interpreted in different manner. Okay. So what is this Dravya Ling? So Todarmalji in Moksha Prakashak have used this example of Dravya Ling. That means a monk who is a possessionless monk. Okay. He is following the 28 main rites of a monk. Okay. There is no blemish in that, but he has not the right belief. Okay. Without right belief, all the external activities he is undergoing in a very right manner, perfect manner, then only he is a Dravyaling. If your external quantities lacks, then you are not even a Dravyaling. Although you are naked from outside, but the 28 main rites that has to be performed diligently without any blemish. So that is what not seen right now. Another way of describing Dravyaling, a person who has manifested the right belief, but he is still at the 4th and 5th stage. Although he is a monk, possessionless monk, observing the 28 attributes of a monk very diligently, still he is not having the internal purity to the extent where 3 levels of passion, 3 quadruplet of passions has been destroyed. Okay. So those are Bhavlingi monk. So you have Dravyalingi monk of 3 types. One is the wrong believer Dravyaling monk, which is the general meaning everywhere. Todarmalji has used this word. Dravyaling means the wrong believer Dravyaling. That's the classic example Todarmalji has taken everywhere. We will read more in 7th chapter of Moksha Prakashak. So that is the first one. Then at the 4th stage is also Dravyaling. At the 5th stage is also Dravyaling. Only in the 6th and 7th stage, it is considered as Bhavling. Okay. So he has got right belief and the internal purity is to the level that he is devoid of 3 quadruplet of passions. Only the 4th level, Sanjwalan Kashai, is remaining. Okay. So that is a true Bhavling. So here we will take this in sense that here Dravyalingi means a wrong believer. Okay. And not the 4th stage, 5th stage, which is a very subtle meaning, you know. So we will take it very simple here. Dravyaling here means a proper monk, but without the right belief. While being devoid of bhav, bhav means inner disposition, means which inner disposition? Pure inner disposition. Because attachment, aversions, delusion are also inner disposition. But those are not the right. So here pure one, those are impure. O revered monk, there is no place remaining in the 3 worlds where you have not taken on birth and death while merely adopting Dravyaling. So we have all been monks, Dravyaling monks many a times. Okay. So this is not something very encouraging, you know. You have to realize that we have lost many opportunities. Okay. Nor is there any pudgal that you have not taken up and then relinquished. Yet, liberation has not been attained by you, rather due to not being a bhavling, you have endured sufferings alone, being afflicted by birth, aging, and the like for infinite time. O illustrious one, what more can be said? In this human body, each and every part. So in Hindi text, it is written as angul. Angul means one finger, you know. But why here it is mentioned as part? I have put a question mark. I will just check it out. Each and every part harbors 66 disease. So one small finger harbors 66 diseases. So you can just imagine how many diseases are there in the body. So if that is the case, then why we are not suffering right now? We are all very good. Okay. So just because you are in the human birth, you have come with a lot of punya. Okay. And because of that punya, the meritorious karma that is into fruition route right now, So that's why you are enjoying a good health. Although the diseases are there, but it is just not coming out because there is a meritorious karma's rise that is going on. So we are not suffering. The moment it will get diminished or reduced, you will experience these diseases. Okay, so that is also a factor. So long we are in good health, we should do this work of manifesting right belief. So we should prioritize this. Everything else can remain. We have taken care of everything many a times before also. We have been monk many a times, and what else we can say, right? Then what can be said about the affliction of the entire body? In past lives, you have endured all these ailments helplessly, and you will continue to endure them in the future as well. Yeah, Amitaji, your question. Let me finish this 2 paragraph and then I will take up your question. Okay. O monk, you dwelled in the highly impure womb of your mother, where you consumed nourishment in the form of fluids derived from her digested food. Later in your infancy, out of ignorance, you lay in unclean places, surrounded by impure objects, and consumed impure substances. O monk, the body which you perceive as your home is entirely filled with impure substances such as flesh, bones, semen, blood, bile, intestines, semi-digested waste, immature excrement formed from blood, fat, and pus, impure blood. Being attached to this impure body, you have endured suffering for infinite time. So Acharya is trying to create a feeling of detachment toward all these associations where we are, you can say, what we can say, we have great attachments. Okay, Hindi, the word is asakti, but right now I'm not getting the English. Infatuation. Okay, we are infatuated. Yeah, Amitaji.
Sir, in the Hindi version, the number is 96. एक एक आंगुल में 96 रोग होते हैं.
Right.
Sorry for that
Yes.
interruption.
Yeah, so that also correction we have to do. Okay, thank you.
So these are all sweeping statements. कहाँ से ये numbers आते हैं और 96 diseases in every part of our body.
In
How
one
can you
finger.
believe it, sir?
Hindi word is says angul. Angul means one finger, you know.
One finger में.
Ah.
आप ही कह रहे हैं कि पुण्य किया हमने, so we got this human life.
Yes, so
ये
because
आप कह
of
रहे हो
this,
पुण्य, तो
एक
sir,
अंगुल
why
में,
should we denigrate this human life? फिर हमें तो इसको celebrate करना चाहिए.
yes,
If
we
got
should
this,
celebrate. So he says that these diseases are there, but it's not coming out just because of your punya karma. Right? So the whole body is full of diseases. There's nothing good about the body. That is what Acharya wants to convey us. So don't get infatuated with this body, with your looks, with your voice, with your possessions that you have. Nothing. You spend your time reading the Jinvani, manifest the Ratnatraya, the 3 gems, and get liberated. That is the only I can say meaningful thing you can do in this birth. Okay, everything else we have done infinite times. We have been monk infinite times. So what else we could say? Okay, so this is the rarity that the Acharyas is showing us, that you are in such a position now that if you choose to go deep into these studies, you can very well go and manifest the Ratnatraya. It is not that difficult, you know. It's very easy. But first thing, you need to have that much punya to have access to this kind of literature, first of all. And then even if you have access, you should able to understand it. So there should be people who make you understand, because all these scriptures were written in Prakrit and Sanskrit. So it is our good luck that these are all being translated into Hindi, Gujarati, and now we have in English. This is again a very surprising thing, you know. And English is going to be the way forward. So it is good that in the last 3.5 years that I've started English batch, I have reviewed. I have not translated. Translation is done by ChatGPT. That's a team. But I have reviewed and I have found out such mistakes. And these mistakes, as I said, now this 66 and 96, I also missed this mistake. So maybe there will be some more mistakes, but gradually it's being corrected. So we have got these scriptures in English, maybe around 30 scriptures that we have reviewed. And in another 1.5 years, we will be completing the whole syllabus in English. Parmagam. All the books are in English right now, except the last 3 and that's also into process. So my primary job is every day to spend 1 or 2 hours after this checking or reviewing these scriptures. And while reviewing, if you are not concentrating, you will not find the mistakes. Now just 66 and 96. It could have been found out, but sometimes you lose attention or you take it for granted, then the mistakes happen. So it's a very, I can say, tedious job that you have to do. And hopefully we will be able to complete. Now this mistakes will be again corrected, and the next year, those who come for studying, they will have a better version of this book. Okay. So there are infinite 96 in one finger. So whole body there would be thousands of rogues. I think in one of the texts, the figure was also mentioned how many lakhs of diseases are there in the body. But just because our Satavedniya karma is going on, that's why we are not suffering right now. The moment it becomes less or light up, then you will realize that, oh, I am suffering from this, I'm suffering from this. And then your attention revolves around that. Okay. So it is best that before we get into any of these such stages, let's manifest these 3 gems and get it into the path of liberation. And then whatever comes, you will be able to practice discriminative knowledge. So you will not suffer. From externally, we will see that you are suffering from disease, but internally, you will have peace of mind, calmness, the eternal bliss that you will be enjoying throughout. Okay. So that is something unique, which is not, we cannot put it in words. What is that feeling? That has to be experienced. Okay. Words cannot explain that feeling, So that has to be experienced. Okay. So Maltiji, you start reading from explaining further.
Yes, sir.
So
Sir,
I had
can
a
I just
question.
add over
Yes,
here
yes.
one thing
Ask, Jia.
No, I don't want to ask what Maltiji was saying. In fact, sir, I've also thought of this several times.
Ah,
When we read this text,
ah,
you suddenly feel that, like she said, that, we've got this human birth, it's important to celebrate it.
ah.
But, and nowadays I go to office on like regularly nowadays, so I kind of read on the metro. And, I also told myself that at the end of it, you feel like a useless, hopeless, worthless loser. When you read this, that I've been born so many times, I've been in these dirty places.
Hmm.
Like I would see a fly sitting on me, and I stopped showing it away, thinking, I would have been a fly. It kind of started, I started thinking so deeply about all this that, let me not show it away, let it sit. When it wants to fly, it'll fly away. But what you said, that we should celebrate it, then I started realizing that celebrate it, but what is your definition of a celebration? Is
Yeah.
other
You define what is your definition of celebration?
yeah, like, does it mean sitting and just enjoying and watching Netflix, or, getting a high from some article that you exposed about, I don't know,
Yeah.
neat leak or something? Or, but yeah, I mean, the
The
question,
real celebration is
yeah,
with 3 gems.
yeah. And then I saw this movie also.
Ah,
I'd seen it long ago, but I saw it again, that, Ek Cheez Milegi, wonderful.
yes.
So recently he actually wrote an article, uh, Yug Bhushan Suriji Maharaj Sahib, who was a mentor for this film, and he sent it to me saying, can it be published in TOI?
Okay.
Obviously, TOI didn't use it, but yeah, then I said, his later on it said that I'm the mentor for this movie, and so I said, let me go see it. So I saw it again. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, the question is, what's your celebration? What's your definition of a celebration?
Yes. So celebration is with Ratnatraya. We are not going to settle anything less than the Ratnatraya.
But
Okay.
Karam is also there, no, sir? If she wants to celebrate an article that she's written, what's wrong with that?
Nothing wrong.
कर्म किया है हमने, उस पर खुश होना भी पाप हो जाता है सर.
Nothing seen. Like, see, how do you interpret? Now, for you, celebration is getting a human life. Okay. For monks, the celebration is manifesting the Ratnatraya. So Acharya Dev has high vision. So he said that you manifest the Ratnatraya first, because you have been monk infinite times. Just now the explanation you see that you have done so many mothers that if you collect all the milk, it will fill up an ocean. So that much times you have taken birth, that much time you have taken a human life, that much time you have taken this, you have become a monk. Okay. But without Ratnatraya, all has been futile. So now the next question would be, then what should we have as our priority in this life? That everyone has to decide. We are now say 10 people in the class. So everyone has their own priorities, right? Someone may not attend class today. Today, somebody must be absent. I don't know who is absent today. Let's see.
All 11 are present, sir.
Today, everyone is present?
11.
Yes. So it's a record, but sometimes someone are absent. So at that time, he or she has got some other priorities, maybe, right? So priorities keeps on changing. So it is our individual responsibility to prioritize what we want, right? Like I was doing business. I was doing very good business. Like in fact, the peak time of my business has just come and I was earning very handsomely. And the same time I stopped it. So then I don't want it because my mentor motivated me that this much is enough for this life. So you leave it. Okay. In a city like Bombay, 2 bed, from 2 bed to 3 bed, 3 bed to 4 bed, there is no end. From Wagoner to some sedan and then some Mercedes, there is no end. Okay. So you have to stop somewhere. So it's your choice where you want to stop, what you want to do, how you want to take it, at what level you want to take it. So every option is there for you. Now you have to decide. And the kind of choices that you make is going to charter your destiny, right? So it's an individual call that we all should have to take, but it would be different for all. It will not be the same for all. Although we are reading the same scriptures, we are 2.5 years, we are meeting every week once, okay? And everyone has realized that this is worth doing, but still everyone has got different priorities, different level of priorities. So that difference will always be there. You can celebrate human life at one stage, but later on you have to get into some serious things, like you want to manifest, right? 3 gems. Okay. So somebody who has manifested 3 gems, for him the priority is to get liberated. So the priorities also keep on changing as you go advanced. So when I was having say X number of wealth, I thought when I reached Y, I will retire. So the moment I reached Y, my object was to get to Z. So it's never ending story. Okay. So we have to put a stop where we want to put in. Okay. Somebody like Jia, who is just starting his career, what are his priorities? Obviously not the same as mine or Amitaji's. So that will always vary, So, but in between this, we have to manage everything and we make sure that we don't lose out on this opportunity. Okay. And once you decide and once you work on it, then it becomes very easy. First of all, the purpose has to be defined, that what you want to do. And once you have defined it very clearly, then the next steps automatically come up. Now I'll give you an example. Zia, you are giving an exam and it's a very tough exam like a CA, where the pass percentage is say around 3% or 10%. I don't know. Maybe it's very less. Okay. 3 and 5. Supposing 1 lakh people appearing, only 3,000 gets cleared. So that's the CA exam. Now, if you decide you want to top the CA, leave alone passing, you decide that I want to top the CA. So your efforts would be of that kind, right? And somebody who's just want to clear the CA, his effort would be different. So it depends the target that you set in accordingly your efforts will be like that. So it's just setting up the vision and then the activities will follow. Now you have joined this course. So this 2 hours you have dedicated for this course, right? So you have other things to do. Now the moment this class gets over, we have many things to do. Even I have many things to do. But right now this is the priority. So it's how you manage it. And but again, there is a struggle. Of course, there is a struggle, but behind that struggle, there is a very green zone, a very blissful life that is awaiting. And that is something related to experience and not in terms of words that we can explain. So let's melody khao khud jaan jao. So let's have that melody. And more words will not explain that experience. So it's we leave it to that experience only. Yeah.
Very correct example, sir. I guess you've explained it rightly. We'll have to decide on our
Yeah, it's like that only. Good. Explaining further.
Explaining further, the Acharya says, O wise one, merely renouncing external ties like family does not make one liberated. True liberation is attained only by renouncing inner desires and becoming free from all other inner attachments. Therefore, recognize this truth and abandon the cravings of the inner self. In the past, many monks have renounced external possessions such as the body and other material attachments, adopting the form of a nirgranth. However, they fail to abandon inner attachments like pride and similar internal attachments. As a result, they did become Siddh. Liberation was attained only when they abandoned pride. For example, Bahubali, Madhu Pimgal, Vashisht, and others, despite undergoing severe austerities, did not attain liberation because they did not rid themselves of internal desires. Even while performing severe austerities as the Dravilingi, one may indeed acquire many extraordinary powers, Riddhi. Yet, due to the arising of anger and other passions, those very powers become the cause of the destruction of both oneself and of others. For example, ascetics like Bahu and Dipayan. Without purity of dispositions, the knowledge of the 11 Ang is useless. However, if one lacks knowledge of the scriptures but has purity of disposition, then through the experience of the self, liberation is attained. For example, Shivbhuti Muni.
Stop. So see, there are 6 stories in the footnote that we are going to study now. Okay. Each story is related to the examples that just now Maltiji read. So first of all, the important line in this whole thing is the inner attachments. Okay. Inner desires. Explaining further, the Acharya says, "O wise one, merely renouncing external ties like family does not make one liberated. True liberation is attained only by renouncing inner desires." Now, inner desires, it is written here as like this. In Hindi, it is abhyantar vasna. Vasna means desire. Abhipray ki vasna. Todarmalji defined it as abhipray ki vasna. So now that is something that it's very difficult to realize. Now, just now I told you what is the purpose of our life. So everyone would have different answer to that, right? Now, depending on the answer, the further explanation could be done, right? So similarly, this inner desires, it's very hard to identify the inner desires. Okay. There is a very good scripture that has been written based on this, Todarmalji's words, Abhipray ki Vasna. Okay. There is one book called Kriya, Parinam and Abhipray. Okay. Kriya, Parinam and Abhipray. I'm going to share the PDF of those in Hindi and Gujarati. It is available. English, it has not been translated. But I'll be taking one class on this in this vacation July month. Okay. Combined class, it will be Hindi and English both together. It will be in Hindi because right now we have the text in English. But having said that, I will use some of the words in English so that you also understand. But that's very important to understand the abhipray. Abhipray means understanding. Abhipray means belief. Okay. Abhipray means faith. Now it's very difficult to understand. So there are three things. One is Kriya. Kriya is the external activities of mind, speech and body that we all can see, right? If Jia is going to temple every day morning, we will say that Jia is Dharmatma. How you say that? Because I know his external activities. She every day goes to the temple, right? So this is called Kriya. Then Parinam. Parinam is our internal disposition. So although Jia is going to the temple every day, you don't know what is his internal disposition. He is going for getting good marks, getting good job, getting wealth. We never know because it is his internal thing, right? So Parinam is something that we know ourselves what Parinam we are having, but the other people cannot know. Even if you are in temple, your thought might run to some other worldly things. Nobody knows about it. You are standing in front of the altar, you are doing the puja, but your thought has gone to something else, right? So that's something we only know. Now this abhipray is so subtle that even we cannot make out what is our abhipray. So for that you have to work something, and that I will explain you when we read that chapter, Kriya Parinam Abhipray. So before that I'm going to share the books, but I will not recommend to read it now. First you complete your all assignments and then you can read it during the vacation. Okay. But I will explain you in simple terms what is abhipray. So as I said, abhipray means your understanding, your belief, and your faith. Okay. So this is very difficult to define, right? So I may say that I'm only wanting to do religion only. I don't want to do anything. But if you see my lifestyle, the whole day, 24 hours, how am I spending? Okay. Then you will realize that, oh, he's saying like this, but his activities are of different nature. So it's very difficult to know the abhipray of each, Forget about different other people, but ourselves also we don't know what is the abhipray. Okay. So it's like that. So this inner desires, okay. True liberation is attained only by renouncing inner desires and becoming free from all inner attachments. Now, how we do that? Okay. How we renounce these inner desires and become free from all inner attachments. Yeah. Jia, how we do that? Tell me.
Swadhyaya is the starting step for that.
Hmm.
And contemplation.
And then decision.
And
But this is something beyond that.
Yeah.
Just by realizing the self. If you realize yourself, first what will go? Anantanubandhi desire will go. But the three levels of desire will still remain. Then further practicing descriptive knowledge, the second level of desires will go, apratyakhana varana. Okay, you will be at the fifth stage. Then the third level will go, you will become a monk. Okay, so it's a long journey, right? So inner desires and inner attachments will only go when you realize yourself. Okay, so of course the starting step would be what Jia said, studying, contemplating, and making the decisions. But we have to go beyond that to achieve anything meaningful in the path of liberation. You have reached so far, very good. Shabash. Parantu. Todarmalji's Parantu is very famous. Throughout the scripture of Moksha Marg Prakasak, he has mentioned this word Parantu at 56 place. 56 place. So by saying Parantu, he will change the direction, whole direction. So far this is good. So far so good. But Parantu means but you have to go beyond this, right? So it is like that. Now this inner desires and this inner attachment to getting free, okay? So this is called vasana, abhipray ki vasana, okay? This desire, internal desires, inner desires. Therefore, recognize this truth and abandon the cravings of the inner self. In the past, many monks have renounced external possessions such as the body and other material attachments. Now he is talking about the monks. Okay, many monks have renounced external possession and as the body such as the body and other material attachments, adopting the form of a Nigran. You have renounced everything, home, all possession, everything, and gone to a jungle. But still, however, they fail to abandon inner attachments, inner desires, like pride and similar internal attachments. As a result, they did become Siddha. They failed to abandon inner attachments like pride and similar inner attachments. As a result, they did become Siddha. Now, this is again confusing. Let me check. Let me check the Hindi version. You have got the Hindi books with you, no? All of you? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
अत्ता सिद्धि
No,
नहीं
I
हुई
don't have a Hindi one.
अत्ता सिद्धि नहीं हुई. Accomplishment was not done. This is the meaning. So they have mentioned is Siddha as Siddhi. Now this mistake I also could not found. Just check it. As a result, they did become as a result they did become Siddha. Thus it is completely wrong. As a result, nothing was accomplished. अतः सिद्धि नहीं हुई. As a result, nothing was accomplished. So as a result, they didn't become liberated. That also we can raise. As a result, they did not become, not just add not, and it will be good. As a result, they did not become Siddh, or they did not achieve their target, maybe. So this is a correction. So they did become a monk, but because of inner attachments like pride and similar internal attachments, okay, they did not become Siddha, or they did not accomplish their targets. Okay, so this is the first point. Okay, liberation was attained only when they abandoned pride. Okay, for this they have given 3 examples: Bahubali, Madhupingal, and Vasisht. And others, despite undergoing severe austerities, did not attain liberation because they did not got rid of themselves of internal desires. Okay, so this internal desires, these 3 examples that we will see. The second point starts here. Even while performing severe austerities as a dravyaling, one may indeed acquire many extraordinary powers. Yet, due to the arising of anger and other passions, okay, those very powers become the cause of the destruction of both oneself and others. For that, there are 2 examples, Bahu and Divya, and Dipayan Muni. Okay, the third point is, without purity of disposition, the knowledge of the 11 ang. So total there are 12 anga and 14 purva. Okay, 14 anga, 12 angas and 14 purva is the total jinvani, dvachang. Okay, out of it, knowledge of the even 11 anga is useless. Means right belief is not manifested. Only although you have knowledge of 11 angas, that means 90% of the knowledge you have, but you are still eluded without manifesting right belief. Okay, the knowledge of the 11 anga is useless. However, if one lacks knowledge of the scriptures but has the purity of disposition, now this is very important, but has the purity of disposition, that means right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct, then through the experience of the self, liberation is attained. Okay, so you need not remember many things. Your memory may be very short, but you have to remember that you are a pure soul, you are a knower, you are not a doer. This much if you remember, and that's how the people in the subhuman state manifest right belief, because they don't know the names of the 7 fundamental elements. But they know this, that I am the pure soul, this is something different from me, these dispositions are good ones, this one are bad ones. So they discriminate in between this and they manifest right belief. Okay. So this is the third one where we are going to get one example of Shiv Dut Muniraj who used to forget the Nakar mantra also. And still he got liberated in the same birth. Okay. So these 3 points through the stories we are going to understand. So the first one is about the person who didn't get rid of internal prides or internal desires, right? So because of these 3 stories, first one Bahubali is about pride, then Madhu Pingal and then Vasistha. Okay. So in the footnote we will be reading maybe one story at a time and I will explain. Okay. So the first one is Bahubali and Madhuji you read.
Yes, sir. From the above example, sir.
Hmm.
Hello,
Bahubali did not accept from there. Footnote. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Bahubali did not accept to be a subordinate of his elder brother, Bharat. As a result, a battle ensued between them. The battle involved water combat, wrestling, and visual contests. Bahubali triumphed in all 3. However, disillusioned with this brotherly conflict, Bahubali renounced the world and took initiation as a Nirgranth. In penance, he meditated for a year in a standing posture. Despite this, he did not attain liberation. It is said that in his mind, the impurity of pride remained. Once this impurity was removed, he gained omniscient knowledge. King Pimgala and King Sagar both went to the
This
center.
1 minute. This story is over now. The Madhu Pingal is the next story. Okay. So Bahubali, although he was so brilliant, he won over the 3 wars that they ensured through water combat, wrestling, and visual contest. Okay. So what is this? Jal Yudh, that is water combat. Then wrestling is Mal Yudh, and then Drashti Yudh is visual contest. Bahubali triumphed in all 3. However, disillusioned with this brotherly conflict, Bahubali renounced the world and took initiation as a Nigranth. In penance, he meditated for a year in standing posture. Okay. Despite this, he did not attain liberation. It is said that in his mind, the impurity of pride remained. Okay. Once this impurity was removed, he gained omniscient knowledge. So because of pride, he was struck up. So these are all internal passions that holds you up. Okay. So this is first example. Now we'll see another example. Madhu Pingal. Madhu Pingal.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And who will read? I'll say. Rekha, you read.
Yes, sir. King Madhupingal and King Sagar both went to a ceremony where a princess chooses her husband, Swayamvar, of the princess Shulabha. At the event, King Sagar's minister deceitfully devised a false Samudrika Shastra, physiognomy scripture, and declared that if the bride married a suitor with copper-colored spingle eyes, it would bring death upon him. Hearing this, the believing king, Madhupingal's eyes to be of a copper hue, Princess Sulabha chose King Sagar as her husband. Disheartened by this incident, King Madhupingal renounced the world and took initiation as a Nirgran, undertaking rigorous penance. Later, when the deception of King Sagar's minister was exposed, Madhupingal desired that the fruit of his penance would be to destroy Sagar's lineage in his next birth. Upon his death, Madhupingal was reborn as the celestial being Mahakalasura. Mahakalasura. This clearly shows that due to merely the disposition of desire for vengeance in Madhupingal's body, he could not attain liberation.
disposition of desire, desire to get that queen, so again he was struck up because of this. In fact, in some of the cases we will see that they end up in hell also, just because of this internal desires, internal impurities that they hold on to that. So these are very dangerous. Now the third example about Vasishtha, Roshni, you can read.
Yes, sir. From King Madhupinga, right?
No, next paragraph.
Okay. Once a sage named Vasishtha was performing penance involving 5 fires. At that time, 2 monks who traveled through the sky, named Gunabhadra and Virabhadra, conveyed to him that the penance he was performing involved violence. Upon
Realizing the apparent violence, footnote.
Upon realizing the apparent violence in his practice, he abandoned it and took initiation as a Nirgrant from the monks, committing himself to austerities for life. Subsequently, he arrived in Mathura and undertook a series of fasts, each lasting for a month. The local king, Ugrasen, out of devotion, decided to personally offer fast-breaking food to the monk. The king announced throughout the city that no one else should provide food to the monk. On the day of breaking his fast, when the monk arrived in the city, he encountered a disturbance caused by fire. Recognizing it as an obstruction, he returned to continue another month of fasting. Then he returned on the next fast-breaking day. He faced agitation from an elephant. Again realizing it as an obstruction, he returned for another month-long fast. After fasting for another month, he returned on the next fast-breaking day. However, this time, the king was distressed due to a letter from Jarasingh, which preoccupied his mind, and he neglected to offer food to the monk. Once again, considering it as an obstruction, he returned to the forest. On his way, he heard the townspeople gossip that the king was not offering to feed the monk, and had also forbidden others from doing so. Muni Vasisht became angry. In his wrath, he wished that as a result of his penance, he would be reborn as the king's son, overthrow the king, and rule the kingdom. Therefore, his rage-led vow caused the austerity to be rendered futile, and liberation was not attained. Bahu,
So here,
in the-
stop. So this is about anger. Because of anger, and he thought that the fruits of my penance should be that I should reborn as the king's sons, overthrow the king. So again, of revenge, anger, so people do get struck up. And why does this kind of dispositions come? Any good answers? Although they were monk, they were true monks, not ordinary monks. They were true monks, not Dravyalingi, but they were Bhavlingi, and still they got this kind of manifestations or dispositions. What could be the reason? Maltiji, Maltiji.
Okay.
1 minute, Maltiji, let Maltiji try.
आपका उदय होगा सर कोई कर्म.
Yes, कर्म का, पाप का. Okay, so if you are not aware, कुछ भी उदय आ सकता है ना. सावधानी हटी, दुर्घटना घटी. ओके, तो ये सावधानी का मार्ग है. यू हैव टू बी अवेयर एवरी मोमेंट. ओके, सो द नेचर ऑफ deluding karma, moh, is such that if you give him some space to enter, he will immediately enter and make you weak, and then he will dethrone you from the path of liberation. As we have seen these cases, some of them went to hell also because of this kind of activity. Okay, now the second point, now we are going to start. Even while performing severe austerities as a Dravyaling, one may indeed acquire many extraordinary powers, riddhi. Yet due to the arising of anger and other passions, those very powers become the cause of the destruction of both oneself and of others. Okay, so these are the cases of Dravyalingi Muni, not the Bhavlingi. The first one that we read was about Bhavlingi, because Bahubali was a Bhavlingi. Okay, but because of subtle pride, his omniscient knowledge was stopped. Okay. So now in this case, they were Dravilinghi Muni, but they were great into austerities and all. And still, because of they had got spatial power, they used those powers for the destruction of both oneself and the others. So now we'll be reading two stories. First one is Bahu and then Dipayan. So Pratibhaji will read Bahu and then Soumya would read about Dipayan.
Okay. Bhau. In the city of Kumbhakartaka, there was a king named Dandak, whose minister was named Balak. Once 500 monks, including Abhinandan and others, arrived there. Among them, a monk named Kandak won a debate against Minister Balak. Enraged, the minister adorned a clay statue with monks' robes and presented it to King Dandak. Showing it playing with the queen Subrata, the minister said, "Look at the king's devotion. He even allows Digambar monk to play with his wife." Hearing this, the king, overcome with anger, ordered all the monks to be crushed in an oil press. Despite enduring severe torment, the monks maintained supreme meditation and ultimately attained the state of liberation. In the course of time, a monk named Bahu arrived in the same town. The town people recounted the earlier incident and warned him against entering the area. Upon hearing the earlier incident, Monk Bahu got angry. This anger led to the release of fire, resulting in the complete incineration of the king, the minister, the entire town, and even Monk Bao himself. The king and the minister were reborn in the seventh hell, and Monk Bao also met the same fate. Thus, in the case of those with an external form of asceticism without internal purity, disturbance arise due to defects in disposition. Therefore, the principal advice is to be a naked possessionless monk with right belief.
So you see, without internal purity, external austerities are futile. That's what it goes on to prove. Okay. Now the another example of Dipayan Muni, of course, we have read about this. Dwarka's burning of the Dwarkas in Kambat Paryay, this example was there. Soumya, you continue. Are you there, Soumya?
Soumyaji, you're on mute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Dipayan. After 12 years, Muni Dipayan will destroy Dwarika by fire and alcohol will be the instrumental cause. Upon hearing this, the king declared a prohibition on alcohol throughout the entire city, and Dipayan himself took initiation and left for foreign lands. After 12 years, Dipayan returned and began performing austerities outside Dwarika. There, some boys, thinking it was water in the pond, drank it, but it was alcohol. Intoxicated, they said that this is Dipayan who will burn our Dwarka to ashes, and struck him with stones and other objects. As a result, Muni Dipayan fell to the ground and he became angry, which acted as an instrumental cause in the burning of Dwarka to ashes. In this manner, Muni Dipayan could not attain liberation due to the lack of purity of disposition.
So this story we all know. Again, because of anger, he lost the track. The last one, that is the third point, without purity of disposition, the knowledge of the 11 Anga is useless. However, if one lacks the knowledge of the scriptures but has purity of disposition, so all these stories goes on to prove that internal purity is more important than the knowledge. Okay, so even if you don't have much knowledge, okay, but you have internal purity. Internal purity, what do we mean by internal purity here? In this case, that means you want to adapt the Jinvani. You want to design your life according to the instructions of the Jinvani. Okay, so that is what it means here. the inner purity. Okay, inner purity means you are ready to obey the instructions of the Jinendra Bhagwan. Okay, so last story coming up, Sivbhuti. So Soumya is there, she can read.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. So who else is left over? I think everyone has read one time. So Jia again.
Sir, I've not read. Yeah. Shivabhuti, the monk named Shivabhuti read all the scriptures in front of his guru, but he did not understand anything. Then, knowing him to be of limited intellect, the guru instructed him with a simple teaching. Ma tus, which means not to harbor attachment or aversion, as all accomplishments are attained by not harboring attachments and aversions. Thus, Shivabhuti began to repeat this teaching. However, he could not fully retain this phrase correctly and started reciting it as Tusamasa while wandering. On the roads, a person asked a young woman who was cleaning urad dal, "What are you doing?" She replied, "I'm separating the husk." Hearing this, the monk gained insight into the concept of duality. He realized that the body is like the husk of the soul, and the body and the soul are separate. With this realization of duality, he immersed himself to experience the soul, and by destroying karmas, attained liberation.
So you see, attaining liberation is so simple. First, you identify your pure soul and just get enclosed in it. That's all, nothing else. So this Sivbhuti Muniraj, who had got very limited memory, limited remembrance, but still he could not even remember the two words marus matus. Okay, and just looking at the lady who was doing the outer covering and the internal thing, these two are different. Just realizing that much, he realized that uh, incept he got the monk gained insight into the concept of duality. These two things are different. The outer covering is different, and the inner thing is different. So that much, with that much knowledge, he was able to practice discriminative knowledge between the body and the soul. Okay, both are separate. And then with concentrating on the self, he immersed himself to experience the soul, and that's how he destroyed all the karmas and attained liberation. Although in terms of knowledge, he did not know many scriptures, many meanings. He didn't have any answers for the questions there are in the scriptures. Okay, but just one quality of engrossing in the self. That's all. So first step would be to identify the soul. Where you are going to get this soul, in the mandir or in the scriptures, where you are going to get, Jia? Where the experience is going to happen?
In the scriptures, but in ourselves.
No, in ourselves. But in ourselves, there is one substance and there is one modification. So where the modification is going to happen? Where the realization is going to happen? Substance or modification?
Substance.
Modification. Substance says that I don't want to realize anything. I don't want to get liberated. I am liberated from the beginning only. Number 8, Param Shuddha Nischay Nay, supreme real point of view. The subject of supreme real point of view is that who I am. So the experience has to be done in the modification. Modification is impure and modification will become pure. But I am by nature pure. I am by nature pure soul. Okay. But the modification will experience, and the experience will happen in the modification, and the modification is impure and it will become pure. Okay. But I am always pure. I don't get to the modification. I am devoid of modification. I am devoid of gunbhed, distinction of attributes. Okay, I am one. So Sibhuti Muniraj did this and he got liberated. Okay, so simple. So Jia would say that I will leave the course now, because without doing this also I will get liberated. So I will get into this course, right? Right understanding?
No.
So where you will get this understanding from? From the scriptures only. Okay. So we read it again and again, And with constant hammering, it becomes a part of our knowledge. Okay. The knowledge automatically picks up right things, and he manifests all the things that are required in the path of liberation. From the above examples, from there we need to start now. From the above examples. Hemali?
Yes, sir.
Page number 14.
So that G already read, sir.
Yeah. From the above examples, yes. Good. Okay. So now Madhuji, you read.
Yes, sir. Thank you. From the above examples, it is clear that without the right disposition, nakedness is ineffective. Only Dravya Linga accompanied by Bhav inner disposition does destruction of the exaggerate karmic natures occur. O wise monk, understanding this, you should focus on the intention of the Atma itself.
1 minute. Let me again clarify this line. So, ChatGPT, there is a problem everywhere. So, from the above examples, it is clear that without the right disposition, okay, right disposition means internal purity, that is right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct. Nakedness is ineffective, okay. Only dravyaling accompanied by bhav. Now, bhav means inner pure disposition. So here bhav means, because this is bhav powered, here the internal purity is defined. So here the bhav means the internal purity, pure inner disposition. So you just add word pure before inner, pure inner disposition. Okay. So then it will be correct meaning. Only dravyaling accompanied by bhav, that is pure inner disposition, does destruction of the karma. So karma only gets destructed only when you manifest the pure disposition. Okay. So now it is correct. Continue, Madhuji.
Yes. A monk who, being free from bodily and other forms of possessions and from the pride passion, remains immersed in the self is called a Bhavlingi Muni. The Bhavlingi Muni reflects, I renounce all sense of ownership over external substances and external states. My true nature is free from attachment.
Next page.
Therefore, I relinquish all other dependencies and take refuge solely in the self. Knowledge, perception, conduct, renunciation, restraint, and vibration of space points of the soul, that is you, although may appear as many, they all exist within the Atma. Due to the differences in names and numbers, they are regarded as separate. I am the external Atma, characterized by knowledge and perception.
Eternal Atma.
Sorry, sir. I am the eternal Atma, characterized by knowledge and perception. All other skills and conditions are external and belong to Par Dravya, distinct from me. Thus, O Atma, if you wish to escape the furions of existence and attain eternal bliss, purify your dispositions and contemplate the supremely pure Atma, a being who does so attains liberation. The Jiva is tasteless, formless, odorless, unmanifested, soundless, beyond inferential knowledge, and in indeterminate form. It possesses the quality of consciousness. The contemplation of the jiva, which is inherently filled with consciousness and knowledge, is the cause for destruction of karma.
Bas.
Yes,
This
sir.
much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Himali.
Yeah. So again, coming back to the conclusion. So these examples we have seen that internal purity is very important. Understanding this, you should focus on the intention of the Atma itself. Okay. A monk who is being free from bodily and other forms of possessions and from passion remains immersed in the self is called Bhavlingi Muni. Okay. Immersed in the self is called a Bhavlingi Muni. The Bhavlingi Muni reflects, I renounce all sense of ownership over external substances and external states. My true nature is free from attachment. Therefore, I relinquish all other dependency and take refuge solely in the self, knowledge, perception, conduct, Gyan, Darshan, Charitra, renunciation, Pratyakhan. Then this is stoppage, not restraint. In the Hindi, the word is samvar. So samvar would be stoppage and not restraint. Okay. And vibration of space points of the soul, yog. Okay, so these are all part of the modification of the soul. Okay. Although may appear as many. So these are many, no? Knowledge, perception, conduct, renunciation. Okay. They all exist within the Atma. They all exist within the Atma means they all exist in the modification of the Atma. Okay. Due to the difference in names and numbers, they are regarded as separate. I am the eternal Atma, characterized by knowledge and perception. All other states and conditions are external and belong to Pardravya, distinct from me. Thus, O Atma, if you wish to escape the four realms of existence and attain eternal bliss, purify your dispositions and contemplate the supremely pure Atma. है ना? Contemplate, you can write experience. Experience the supremely pure Atma. A being who does so attain liberation. Okay. The Jiva is tasteless. Now, this particular verse is so important that Kunkund Acharya put this particular verse in all the 5 Parmagams. Okay. So, this is verse number 64 in Ashtapad. Okay. Then in Samaisar, it is verse number 49. Same words, not a single change of word. Samaisar, it is verse number 49. Pravachansar, it is verse number 172. Niyamsar, verse number 46. Panchastikai, verse number 127. Absolutely same verse in Prakrit language. But the meanings are different in different scriptures according to the commentaries. The main words would be same across all the 5 scriptures, but the commentaries have been different in different scriptures because of the background. Like in Pravachansar, the same verse, Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev wrote 20 points, and it is famous as Alinga Grahan ke Bees Bol. 20 points on that particular verse. He wrote 20 points. And in Samaisar, same Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev wrote 7 points only. Okay. Both from different perspectives, and both are to be read individually. It's very interesting. Maybe sometime we will touch that also. Of course, Samaisar we are going to touch in the syllabus, but I wanted to touch Pravachansar also. That will also be a part of syllabus, but that much explanation we won't be able to do at that point of time. But sometime other we will see this. These are very good in the sense that this will help in you to practice discriminative knowledge, Ved Vigyan. Okay. So here there are 9 adjectives for the soul, out of which 8 are negatives. The first one is the Jeev is tasteless. So this is a negative adjective. Formless, a ras, a roop. Odorless, a gandh. Unmanifested, a vyakt. Then soundless, a shabda. Then beyond inferential knowledge, alinga grahan. And in indeterminate form, anirdisht sansthan. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 are adjectives from the negative point of view. Now only one is coming from the positive point of view. It possesses the quality of consciousness. Now this is positive. This is in fact the characteristics of the soul. Upyogo lakshanam. It possesses the quality of consciousness. Okay. Chetanatva. The contemplation of the jiva, which is inherently filled with consciousness and knowledge, is the cause for destruction of karma. Okay. The contemplation of the jiva, which is inherently filled with consciousness and knowledge. So again here contemplation would mean experience, the experience of the jiva. Now continue highlighting the significance, Pratibhaji.
Highlighting the significance of bhav, inner disposition, the Acharya states that it is this inner disposition that gives rise to the status as a householder and an ascetic. It is a Dravya Linga accompanied by inner disposition that karmas are destroyed. Merely engaging in recitation, study, or contemplation does not lead to any accomplishment, because if nakedness alone were sufficient for liberation, then being like those in hell, animals, etc. would also attain liberation. Merely due to their naked state, however, this is not the case. They suffer greatly. Thus it is evident that nakedness without the inner disposition results only in suffering and leads to continued wandering in the cycle of existence. An extremely naked monk, tainted by acts such as slander, mockery, deception, etc., brings disrepute upon himself and monks. The conventional ethical conduct of the religion, therefore, one should adopt the external form of nirgranth only after achieving utmost inner purity. Explaining the futility of the Dravya link devoid of bhav, the Acharya says that Muni in whom dharma does not abide, but in whom faults have their abode, is like sugarcane fruit, on which neither the fruit in the form of moksha grows, nor are the fragrance, like qualities in the form of the three jewels found. What more need to be said? Such persons are, even while naked, like dancing jesters. Therefore, O Atma, first abandon the internal faults such as delusion and the like, and then becoming completely pure with respect to faults of disposition, bhava dosha. You should adopt the external nirgranth ascetic emblem, linga. Disposition.
Stop.
Yeah.
So this much we will
Thanks,
cover.
Emily.
Yeah. Highlighting the significance of bhav. Bhav means inner disposition. Which bhav? Pure inner disposition. That also you add, because bhav could be impure also and pure also. But we are, Acharya Dev is talking here of pure disposition. Highlighting the significance of bhav, that is pure inner disposition, the Acharya states that it is the inner disposition, inner pure disposition, that gives rise to the status as a householder and ascetic. Okay. It is Dravyaling accompanied by pure, again write pure inner disposition, that karmas are destroyed. Okay. Merely engaging in recitation, study, or contemplation does not lead to any accomplishment. Because if nakedness alone were sufficient for liberation, then beings like those in hell, animals, etc., would also attain liberation merely due to their naked state. However, this is not the case. They suffer greatly. Thus, it is evident that nakedness without the inner disposition, without the pure inner disposition, everywhere we have to mention pure. Without the pure inner disposition, results only in suffering and leads to continued wandering in the cycle of existence. An externally naked monk, tainted by acts such as slander, okay, mockery. So slander is chugalkhori, mockery is hasya, deception is maya, etc., brings disrepute upon himself and mocks the conventional ethical conduct of religion. Therefore, one should adopt the external form of a Nigranth only after achieving the utmost inner purity. Now they have written the word purity. After achieving utmost inner purity. Okay. Explaining the futility of the Dravyaling devoid of pure bhav. Not bhav, but pure bhav. Devoid of pure bhav. The Acharya says that Muni in whom dharma does not abide, but in whom faults have their abode, is like a sugarcane flower. Actually, it is full. Full means flower. So you change it to flower. Sugarcane floor. It is also called sugarcane arrow. Okay. You can search in the Google sugarcane flower or sugarcane arrow or sugarcane vessel, VASSEL. You can see on which neither the fruit in the form of moksha grows, nor are the fragrance-like qualities in the form of the three jewels found. What more need to be said? Such persons are, even while naked, like dancing jesters. Just for the entertainment they dance, nothing else. Okay. Therefore, O Atma, first, what you should do? Abandon the internal faults such as delusion and the like, delusion and the passions, okay? And then becoming completely pure with respect to faults of disposition, bhav dosh. You should adopt the external Nigranth ascetic emblem, okay? So once you abandon the delusion and the passions, then only you accept this Nigranth post ascetic, then you become a monk. Next, Hemali, you read.
Disposition is the cause of heaven and moksha. It is through auspicious dispositions by Vidyadhars, celestial beings, and humans that one attains the immense wealth of universal monarch, Chakravarti, and also attains the path of liberation characterized by the three jewels. Dispositions are of three kinds: auspicious, Shubh, inauspicious, Ashubh, and pure, Shuddha. Dharma, dharma,
Dhyan.
dharma dhyan, righteous meditation, is auspicious. Artha and Raudra dhyan, afflictive and wrathful meditation, are inauspicious. And pure disposition is the very nature of the soul. This alone should be adopted. That Shraman who has destroyed false belief, who has largely overcome passions such as pride, etc., and who is detached from the senses and remains equanimous, contemplates the 16 supporting reflections, binds a Tirthankar Prakriti within a short time, and attains Nirvana. Giving a sermon, the Acharya says, O noble monk, perform the 12 kinds of austerities and the 13 types of actions through the mind, speech, and body, and subdue the drunken elephant of a mind using knowledge as a goad. Describing the nature of jinnaling, distinctive sign of jinn, the Acharya states that relinquishment of external garments and the like, sleeping on the ground, etc., constitutes jinnaling. This alone is the cause of liberation. Dispositions, parinam, accompanied by worship and the like, and by vows are merit, punya, whereas the dispositions of the Atma, free from delusion, moh, are dharma. For the Ignorant merit serves as an instrumental cause for enjoyment, not for the destruction of karma. Dharma, however, is the cause of karmic destruction. Therefore, one should have belief in, know, and meditate upon the Atma in its true nature of Dharma. External renunciation of possessions, residing in caves or mountains, engaging in knowledge, study, and other activities, all performed without the contemplation of the pure soul by the monk, are futile. Therefore, O monk, do not merely adopt an external guise for the amusement of the world. Break the army of the senses. Do not indulge in sensory pleasures. Subdue the monkey like mind. Abandon delusion and the nine quasi passions. And with pure dispositions, show reverence to the Dev Guru Shastra and thoroughly understand the Jina scriptures, Jain Shastra, and cultivating contemplation with pure disposition. By doing so, you will transcend the suffering of hunger, thirst, and similar pains and attain the supreme state of liberation, the crown jewel of the three worlds. O monk, endure the 22 afflictions, parishas, contemplate the 12 reflections, anuprekshas, and strive for inner purity by meditating on the 9 elements, the 7 fundamental principles, the 14 classifications of Samas, the 14 stages of spiritual development, along with their names, definitions, and characteristics. Denounce the 10 form of unchastity, abrahmacharya, and manifest the 9 forms of celibacy. In this manner, only a Dravyalinga Muni with pure dispositions attains right belief, knowledge, conduct, and austerity. However, a Dravyalingi Muni, devoid of pure disposition, endures endless sufferings in the 4 realms of existence.
Stop. So you see, again, many a times you have to write pure word. Okay. Disposition is the cause of heaven and moksha. So which disposition is the cause of heaven and which disposition is the cause of moksha? Jia, you can try.
Shubh, are you talking about Shubh and Shubh?
Pardon? Which disposition is the cause of heaven and which disposition is the cause of moksha? You can see the second paragraph there. From there you will find the answer.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. So Shuddh disposition would be for moksha and Shubh will be for heaven.
Shubh means auspicious, right?
Auspicious.
Auspicious. So disposition is the cause of heaven and moksha. So you have to understand that auspicious disposition is the cause of heaven and the pure disposition is the cause of moksha. It is through auspicious dispositions by Vidyadharas, celestial beings and humans, that one attains the immense wealth of a universal monarch, that is Chakravarti, comma, kings, comma, etc. So kings is missing. You can write down. Universal monarch, and also attains the path of liberation characterized by the 3 jewels. Okay. So there are some kinds of inner auspicious disposition. Okay. So those which result in having association which are conducive to getting pure disposition. Okay. Now we also have meritorious rise of meritorious karma right now. That's why we have got access to this kind of scriptures. And Mukesh Ambani is also having auspicious rise of auspicious karma. But his auspicious karma are such that although he has got enough wealth, many times than us, but all those wealth will not fetch him the scriptures that we are reading. And our disposition of different kind of meritorious, right? Where we are getting such material which are conducive to get liberated. We will take the 3 gems right now and attain liberation very soon. Okay. So auspicious dispositions are of different categories. So here the Acharya is talking about those kind of auspicious disposition that they will get the post of Vidyadhar, celestial beings, king, Chakravarti, right now what we are doing in terms of studies and all. So these are binding punya karmas. And those punya karmas are of that category that you will be born in a Jain family, rich Jain family. All our Tirthankars were prince, Kshatriya, king. They were all kings. Their fathers were all king. They were born in such family. They never had to work, like us. So those auspicious karma will fetch you this post of Chakravarti, kings, etc. And also attains the path of liberation. Now, this is something very special kind of auspicious karma. It is called Satishai karma. In Hindi, we call it as Satisai karma, special category of punya, which will bring in associations which are conducive to progress in the spiritual path. Okay, you will get Samosaran, you will get true monks, you will get Chaityalay, Jinalay, all this. You will get Samosaran, all these kind of auspicious dispositions only. Okay. Dispositions are of three kinds: auspicious, inauspicious, and pure. Dharma dhyan, righteous meditation, is auspicious. Now, this dharma dhyan is Vyavar dharma dhyan. Okay. Nischay dharma dhyan is pure, Suddhopyog. Okay. But here they have mentioned that dharma dhyan is auspicious. That means conventional dharma dhyan, conventional righteous meditation. So we will read this in what you call Tattvat Sutra. I think it is there in the 9th chapter. Okay. So last topic in the 9th chapter is about dhyan, 4 kinds of meditation. So here all the 4 kinds of meditations are mentioned here. Dispositions are of 3 kinds: auspicious, inauspicious, and pure. Dharma dhyan is auspicious. Artha and Raudra dhyan are effective and wrathful meditation. It is also called painful meditation. Artha dhyan, Raudra dhyan. Okay. And the last one, Sukla dhyan, are inauspicious and pure disposition. That is Nischay Sukla dhyan, is the very nature of the soul. So this Sukla dhyan begins from the 8th stage. 8th stage. So only monks do have it. And that also those monks who are into that spiritual ladder, Sapak Shreni or Upsham Shreni. So because they only get into the 8th stage. Okay. So there this starts. This Sukla dhyan is also of 4 types. And it starts from 8th and then it goes on to the 12th, 13th up to 13th. This alone should be adopted. So pure disposition should be adopted and the other 2 are not to be adopted. The Sramana who has destroyed false belief. The Sramana who has destroyed false belief, who has largely overcome passions such as pride. Sraman means monk, okay, etc. And who is detached from the senses and remains equanimous. Contemplates the 16 supporting reflection, Sola Karan Bhavna, binds the Tirthankar Prakriti, okay, within a short time and attains Nirvana. So these are special kind of people who have these 16 supporting reflections, Sola Karan Bhavna, and because of them they bind Tirthankar Prakriti and they become a Tirthankar and get liberated. Okay, but the Tirthankars are 24. So all the others, Aryant, would also get liberated, but they will not become Tirthankar. Giving a sermon, Acharya says, "O noble monk." So Acharya throughout the scriptures is addressing only the monks. Okay. So this scripture is specially written for the monks. "O noble monks, perform the 12 kinds of austerities. Okay. And the 13 types of actions through the mind, speech, and body. And subdue the drunken elephant of a mind using knowledge as a goad." Goad is a pointed stick, used for the animals to give them direction. Okay. So our mind is like a drunken elephant, mad elephant. Okay. Who is So we have to channelize that mind, and then perform these 12 kinds of austerities and 13 types of action. So this is mentioned in page number 179 of the main scripture, Ashtapaud. Okay. Soumya, you can share the Hindi scripture, Ashtapaud main Granth, where the Bhavarth of Jaichand Chabda is also written. There the names of these 12 austerities are written. So you all know the names of 12 austerities, but if you want, I can repeat. Anshan, Avmodarya, Vritti Parisankyan, Ras Parityag, Vivikta Shayashan, and Kaikles. Then internal, Praischit, Vinay, Vayavritti, Swadhyay, Vyutsarg, Dhyan. So these are 12 austerities. Tap. Then 13 types of Kriya activities. Panch Parmeshti ko Namaskar. So bowing to the 5 Parmeshtis, that is 5 Kriya. Then 6 essential activities. 6 Avashak Kriya. So monks Avashak Kriya are different and householders essential activities are different. Then Nishidika Kriya and Asika Kriya. Okay. Nishidika Kriya, what does it mean? When you enter the temple, you say Nisahi word 3 times that we read in Balbodh. Okay. Nisahi, Nisahi, Nisahi. Okay. So that means that any of the worldly thoughts, I will not, I will try not to manifest any of the worldly thoughts in the mandir. Okay. So that is Nishidha ki Kriya, that this has to be avoided. And then this is Asika Kriya. That means that when you come out of the temple, okay, you should say the word Asika, which means that you will not indulge in sinful activity. Okay. So while entering, you negate the sinful thoughts, inauspicious thoughts, and while coming out, you also said that I will not get into any of the activities which are sinful in nature. Okay. So these are the 13 types of kriyas. It's mentioned in page number 179, verse number 80, 81, Ashtapaud main Granth. Soumya will share in Hindi. It's not available in English, but he will share in Hindi. So if you want to refer, you can refer. You can write down the page numbers right now. Okay.
So what's the page number?
179. Verse number 80, 81. Describing the nature of Jin Linga. Okay. Distinctive signs of Jina, the Acharya states that relinquishment of external garments and the like, sleeping on the ground, etc., constitutes Jin Linga. This alone is the cause of liberation. Okay. These are the activities in the life of a monk. Dispositions accompanied by worship and the like and by vows are merit, whereas the disposition of the Atma free from delusion are dharma. So one is auspicious, the other is pure disposition. For the ignorant, merit serves as an instrumental cause for enjoyment, not for the destruction of karma. Dharma, however, is the cause of karmic destruction. This is Nischay Dharma, Shuddhopyog, okay? Vitrakta. Therefore, one should have belief in, know, and meditate upon. Okay, Darshan, Gyan, and Charitra. Meditate upon the Atma in its true nature of Dharma. External renunciation of possessions, residing in caves or mountains, engaging in knowledge, study, and other activities, all performed without the contemplation of the pure soul by the monk are futile. Okay, all this should be done with the purpose of manifesting pure disposition. Okay, so Acharya also here states the purpose. Any activity that you do, the purpose should be to manifest the pure disposition. Okay, otherwise, without that purpose, everything is futile. You will get one birth in a celestial being, and then again you will end up in the one sensed being. Okay, so we want to be very steady, and we want our purpose. We want to understand our purpose very clearly. We should have clarity on that. Therefore, O monk, do not merely adopt an external guise for the amusement of the world. Break the army of the senses. Do not indulge in sensory pleasures. Subdue the monkey-like mind. Abandon delusion and the 9 quasi-passions with pure dispositions. Show reverence to the Dev Shastra Guru, true God, true scriptures, and true monks, and thoroughly understand the Jina's scriptures. Okay, thoroughly understand. So you are thoroughly understanding, right? And cultivating contemplation with pure dispositions. By doing so, you will transcend the suffering of hunger, thirst, and similar pains and attain the supreme state of liberation, the crown jewel of the 3 worlds. O monk, endure the 22 afflictions, parisha, 22 parisha, okay? Contemplate the 12 reflections, anupreksha, and strive for inner purity by meditating on the 9 elements, okay? The 7 fundamental principles, Sat Tattva, 9 Padarth. The 14 classifications of Jiva, Jiv Samas. So this Jiv Samas is there in the Dravya Sangra, page number 27. Okay. 14 classification of Jiv Samas. The 14 stages of spiritual development, along with their names, definitions, and characteristics. So all this is given in page number 192 of the main scripture of Ashtapaud that Somya is going to share. Renounce the 10 forms of unchastity, abrahmacharya, and manifest the 9 forms of celibacy. In this manner, only a Dravyalingi Muni with pure dispositions attains right belief, knowledge, conduct, and austerity. However, a Dravyalingi devoid of pure disposition endures endless suffering in the 4 realm of existence. Okay. So now I'll explain all the names, 22 Parisha and all. Just give me a few minutes. We will end here, and the next class we will complete this. But before that, let me go to page number 192. So I can explain you all the. So first of all, there are 22 afflictions to be understood. Okay. What are these? This is 192. 1 minute. Page 192 and 190. These two are 22 afflictions we can see from Tattvar Sutra. Here it is not mentioned in the main scriptures also. Okay, leave it alone. 12 reflections, you know, Bara Bhavna. 9 elements, you know, 7 fundamental principles, you know. The 14 classification of Jiv Samas. That is also not mentioned here, but it is mentioned in Dravya Sangra, page number 27. Okay. Then
Sir,
14.
the 9 elements, what are those? It's
Now
not the
Padarth, now Padarth.
Oh, no Padarth.
So in
not
Samaysar,
here.
they have mentioned 9 elements, and in Tattvar Sutra, it is 7 elements.
Okay, got it.
No Padarth. Okay. Now coming the 14 stages of spiritual development, you know, Gunasthan, that we already studied, and in the 6th sem, you will have a complete paper on Gunasthan. Okay. Along with their names, definition, and characteristics. Now, renounce the 10 forms of unchastity. Now, what is this 10 forms of unchastity that I am going to read? 10 प्रकार के अब्रह्म ये है. फर्स्ट, पहला तो स्त्री का चिंतन करना, थिंकिंग अबाउट द वुमन. पीछे देखने की चिंता होना, देन टू हैव अ ग्लिम्स ऑफ वुमन. थर्ड, पीछे निश्वास डालना. निश्वास इज व्हाट? This is a kind of infatuation, okay? Nishwas dalna. Then piche jwar hona, you get a fever. Be fever of because of this unchastity, you know. Fever of indulging in sex. That's again a fever. Then piche da hona. Da hona means burning, burns. पीछे काम की रुचि होना, अगेन सेंसुअल प्लेजर्स. पीछे मूर्छा होना, ओके, लॉस सेंस. देन पीछे उन्माद होना, उन्माद मीन्स गेटिंग मैड आफ्टर दोज थिंग्स. देन पीछे जीने का संदेह होना, हैविंग डाउट अबाउट द सर्वाइवल ऑफ दिस लाइफ. पीछे मरण होना, एंड देन द डेथ हैपेंस. These are 10 types of unchastity, abrahma. Now 9 types of chastity, brahmacharya. Brahmacharya ki 9 ward, 9. These are very good, you know, for our own protection. 9 कारणों से ब्रह्मचर्य बिगड़ता है, उनका नाम यह है. स्त्री को सेवन करने की अभिलाषा, ओके. Indulging in copulation, indulging in thoughts of having copulation with woman. स्त्री के अंग का स्पर्शन, touching the woman. Then पुष्ट रस का सेवन. So there are some like milk and all. If you consume those, then you will have feelings for having sexual encounters. Then स्त्री से संसक्त वस्तु शय्या आदि का सेवन. So sitting on beds which has been used by other women. Then स्त्री के मुख, नेत्र आदि को देखना, looking at the face and eyes of the woman. Then 6th, स्त्री का सत्कार पुरस्कार करना, appreciating and giving gifts to the woman. In the wrong sense, not in the right sense, in the wrong sense. Then पहले किए हुए स्त्री सेवन को याद करना, remembering past sexual encounters. Then आगामी स्त्री सेवन की अभिलाषा करना, okay, having inclination for future sexual encounters, longing for that, you know, craving for that. 9th, मनोवांछित इष्ट विषयों का सेवन करना, okay, indulging in sensual pleasures which you feel which you desire, okay. These are the 9 forms of things that if you indulge in such things, you will again manifest a brahmacharya, okay. So this has been explained. Now the next week we will continue from here. In this manner, only a Dravyalingi Muni with pure disposition attains right belief, knowledge, conduct, and austerity. However, Dravyalingi devoid of pure disposition endures endless suffering in the 4 realms of existence. Okay. So here we end today. Our time is also over. Next, we will continue from here and complete these scriptures because the rest 3 are very small one. So we will finish it in the next class itself. And then, of course, we will have a study on Samet Sikharji. This is a self-study book, but we will do it in the class. We'll summarize that also. Okay. So next week we will finish this, and the next coming week, your syllabus for this sem would be over. And then I will give you Viva. Viva is left, and CC3 is already given, that you have to summarize the 8 scriptures in Astpaud. Okay, 8 scriptures of Astpaud you have to summarize, but the starting date would be from next week when we end the scriptures. But those who want to go out or have some other commitments coming up, they can start right now. Just summarize the 8 scriptures. Okay, so this is all. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को